Good everyone, welcome to this video, and today, well, welcome to the new year for a start, 2020, fucking hell. And to think I was stuck at 143 subscribers for so long, and now we're pushing into the 180s? Bloody hell, is all I'll say. Probably the 190s by the time this comes out. But I did promise a sort of guide, tutorial, etc. on the M10, and well, here you are. Obviously, I've been screen grinding the M4A4, the T34, and the M10, and bringing the Chinese i16 Type 17 along as ground support, which it actually does pretty well in. I'm not going to knock it. It actually does pretty well in. Harry Feet's done a video on it. I'm not a fan of the aircraft, but it does pretty well with its rockets and ground attack. I do have to say that. Obviously, we're not here to discuss the I-16. We're here to give advice and tips on the M10. So why am I doing this then? Well, I see a lot of players struggling with the M10, and the problem is with the M10 is that it's a patient man sort of tank. You can't rush in, and you cannot go in and brawl with this thing because it's not got the armor for it. The gun mantlet has, but your breach will eat the shot, and then you got no gun, do you? Now, obviously, with the M10, well, with the Chinese M10, this one's a little special because you get the add-on armor package, which you can see, which is the track armor and all that from the get-go. You don't have to unlock it; you get it on the tank as you obviously unlock the tank, which significantly adds to its protection, especially on the front glacis plate, but it's not a guaranteed this ain't going through sort of protection. So, tips and advice then, let's go over. So, first of all is crew. I highly recommend buffing your crews. Now, obviously, because the Chinese crews are relatively new, my crews are a bit inexperienced. However, I'm still able to achieve a reload of 7.8 seconds even with an inexperienced crew. Now the top is 6.3, and for a 76mm at 3.7, that is pretty brutal. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty brutal. And obviously the 76mm will be able to slice through pretty much anything you see. The only tanks you'll struggle with will be Churchill Mark 7s, and even then, they're able to be killed in some way or another. So obviously, we're going to need to go over some, some advice, obviously, with this tank. And well, the first advice I can give is play hull down. Now, obviously, the map will highly depend on if you're able to play hull down. Some good maps that are good for that are Advanced Ted Rhine up on the 10 line. You've also got the map that I'm going to be showing you today, which is Berlin. You've also got maps like Poland, where you can camp on Sniper's Ridge. That's pretty good hold down protection for the tank. Because the reason why I say hold down protection is because, well, whilst the mantlet's not very thick and a whirlwind can penetrate it at close range, your breach is right behind it. So pretty much any shot that's going to be penetrating your mantlet is going to hit this and will give you a chance to reverse. Now obviously the M10's reverse is pretty crap at 3 miles an hour, but to be honest, if you hold down anyway and you're able to get back behind more cover so your gun breach can't be continuously shot, you should be okay. So, obviously we're going to be getting into some gameplay very shortly, but obviously I want to go over a bit more. Now with 10 degrees of gun depression, you can pretty much work most ridge lines, and obviously as we're going to be playing hold down, that 10 degrees of gun depression is vital. Gun elevation, 30 degrees, pretty dang decent. But to be honest, you're not going to be using the 76 in an anti-aircraft role. You've got a 50 cal for that purpose. Now, obviously, attracting the attention of planes for your 50 cal is not advised, especially when there's a lot of them. If there's a lot of planes, the best advice is to jump into some trees, a city area where it's going to be hard for them to get shots and hopefully crash, or alternatively, don't piss off planes in the first place. With it being open tops, the M10 is highly vulnerable to planes, as many people already know. So you don't want to piss off something that can easily kill you whilst you can do barely anything about it. The only hope you'll have is if your team actually does something, which with the last few days I've had of teams, I doubt it. And trust me, as Harry Feet said a couple of weeks ago on a video, I might have an aneurysm. I bloody feel like it, mate. So, one last bit of well, in fact, before we go into any more advice, I'm actually going to suggest a couple of buffs to Gaijin to what they could do with the M10. Well, first of all, update it to the M10A1 chassis. Essentially, it's the M10 as we have it, but with a better engine and I believe slightly better armor around the turret, or the turret and the transmission area. The M10A1 was obviously based on it obviously was based from the M36 Jackson. The Jackson uses the same hull as the M10A1. We only have the standard M10, not the M10A1, so the mobility in this thing is not great. And the second thing they could do to improve the M10 for just in general, because obviously we've got 3 M10s in game. No, we've got more actually, if you include the Achilles. But we've got obviously normal M10s with the 76 M7. You've got a French one, you've got a Chinese one, and you've got the US one. The best thing to do to protect it against aircraft would actually for Gaijin to implement the armored roof. Now, if you're not sure what that is, M10s and M36 Jacksons were given armored roofs after the Second World War. They were given it in post-war modifications. It was to improve protection against air threats and small arms fire from above in like MG nests and stuff, because the M10's crew were highly vulnerable. But anyway, I've blabbered on a bit too much. Let's get into some gameplay so I can show you pretty much how I play the M10. And well, this match took place when I was a bit pissed off, as you can imagine. I mean, I'd been having crushing defeats all day. I think this was my first victory of the day in just a couple of hours of grinding skins, and oh, it's frustrating, like people. I swear to God, it is frustrating. But yeah, obviously with it being New Year and everything, obviously when this comes out, all I can say is thank you guys for getting me so far. I mean, I didn't think I'd actually get this far for a start. Right, so let's get to the nitty gritty. Obviously, I'm in the Chinese M10. And, well, I'm going to show you how I play this thing. Now, we have a couple of, shall we say, guest appearances in this battle who are complete fucking idiots, but I always get the idiots, so yeah. It's just standard. Now, obviously, on a map like this, like Berlin, there's a good few spots that you can put the M10 in. I'm going to show you one of them. Obviously, this is Sniper's Ridge on Berlin, but this spot right here is perfect for an M10 because your hull is pretty much protected, and even then you can slightly angle it. Your hull, well, your turret's barely showing and all that, and it's just perfect. Obviously, missed that shot there, but even so. So obviously, ammunition count. You may notice I'm carrying 30 shells. I don't recommend 30 shells. Let's be real. If you get hit in your M10, you're going to die anyway. It doesn't matter all that much. I mean, my M10s can barely survive just a couple of shots. But in terms of ammunition count, and I forgot to mention one of the guest appearances, was the guy named Kostek20, who decided to dump smoke right in front of all of us so we can't cover them. Perfect logic, because, well, that's allied teams for you. But, yeah, I had a lot of teams like that. Now, there's one tank you won't be able to crack very well. That's a Hetzer. And the other guy in the chappy, who was also dropping smoke, doesn't even realise his stupidity, and just says no props. That's just how dumb the player base is becoming lately. Anyway, as I was saying, obviously, I'm not going to be talking too much about the gameplay at all, really. I'll try not to. I mean, obviously, just got killed there on a flak force. But in terms of ammunition carrying capacity, this thing can carry, I believe it's 54 rounds, and that truck just drove right in front of me, drove in front of multiple enemy guns. He then puts "fuck you" in chat, obviously FY. I have no idea what his problem was. His attitude is pretty pathetic, to say the least, and I'd say my attitude is pretty pathetic sometimes. Now, cracking a Hetzer from the front can be done, just not there. Obviously, when it comes to Hetzers, you're going to want to aim lower glacis or where I'm aiming. I know what you're thinking. Why am I aiming for the track? And there's the only bounce I'm going to get from a Hetzer. You see right there? I just took out his gunner. There is a very small section of armor that is about 20mm thick on the Hetzer's track area, and it's a very well-known weak spot of the Hetzer. Otherwise, if you've got his side, you'll have a field day. But like I say, you can see that I'm not playing the tank aggressively. I'm not playing it how most people play it. Obviously, the turret traverse on my current crew is 3.3 degrees a second. It is crap. It is complete crap. And if you are going to have to turn your turret to a target that's quite a few degrees away, I'd suggest turning the hull as well. So, obviously I'm not going to be showing the whole gameplay because, well, I'm just showing it for a bit of background, really. Hetzer's just died there. That Muppet in the M10 truck who drove in front of us earlier, yeah, he was the one who got it. He went through the lower glacis. You can go through the lower glacis, but it's not guaranteed. I mean, you can, but it's not going to go through the transmission very well. Like I say, the 76mm is very fun to use. I love the M10. I love tanks with the 76 because of the penetration and just the raw power, as you're about to see on this P40. The Italians consider it a heavy tank? I wouldn't think so. That's a fun fact, by the way, if people didn't know that. The P40 was actually considered a heavy tank by the, what's it called? The Italians. Obviously, at the time of this recording, I do not have much information about the Swedish tech tree. Just briefly mentioning it here. Obviously, it will most likely be released by the time this video comes out. And if so, well, don't worry, I'll be getting around to it as soon as possible. Just giving myself a bit of breathing room, so if it does come rather late, I at least have something to keep me going, shall we say. I mean, I've got a lot of Spain reviews from German aircraft, so if need be, I could just fall back on those a little bit. And there's a perfect example of a plane trying to kill us there. He unfortunately decided to hug a tree, so we're safe from that. But, like I say, obviously I didn't actually see that Panzer IIIM, and I know some people are probably going to be screaming at the screen, but I actually didn't clock him for a good couple of minutes because I wasn't really looking for him. It's around about this moment where I clock onto him. And well, one shot, one kill. That's kill number 3. And obviously I do fire the 50 cal at that plane. You only get, I believe, 2 reloads on the 50 cal, 150 rounds per clip, shall we say. Use your 50 cal sparingly. If you can't fire it against planes, don't fire it at all. Unless it's a milk truck or something like that. And even then, you're playing as China, chances are you're going to be fighting with the Russians a lot, so yeah. The most in terms of, well, in fact, I do use the 50 cal in this gameplay on a Flak Panzer, which is my final kill that I get in this game. But as a perfect example of that, saving the 50 cal ammunition can make the difference between life and death in some situations, because obviously the 50 cal can pen 26mm of armor, and light anti-aircraft vehicles such as the Flak Panzer 38, the Flak Panzer 1, the M42 and the Whirlwind have turrets that are below that region, shall we say. However, if you are going to engage Whirlwinds, M42s, Flak Panzers and stuff, I recommend from range because their HVAC can penetrate the gun mantler, as I said earlier, and it can also penetrate the turret ring on your M10, and that is a nightmare, let's just say. Because if they get your turret ring, they might get your breach as well, and they'll get a couple of crew members, in which case you are fucked. Forgot to mention, there is our third guest appearance. He is in a Churchill Mark III in a 4.3 game, and yet he's camping at the back sniping when the M10 farm. It's just better for that job. Don't get me wrong, the 6-pounder on the Churchill is perfectly adequate. But he's a heavy tank, and he's... Yeah, you know what, I'm not even going to continue, because I'll probably get ripped. But to be honest, I don't care. And there's our final kill coming around the corner. Jump perk 2 in a Flak Panzer 1. I don't know why you'd bring a Flak Panzer in the first place. I'd bring a Whirlwind or a Gepard if you was going to bring anything. Not something as, shall we say, vulnerable as that little thing, but I do actually miss with the 76, but the 50 cal does make an appearance. Obviously, good old Mardus, always backing you up. If you miss with your main gun, just do that with Mardus, and you'll be fine. That's kill number 5, and that'll be the end for today's gameplay. So I hope that that helps out a little bit. Obviously, do not go charging in like a complete muppet in the M10. I just don't want to see people dying in the M10 and then coming back and saying, oh, Joe, this advice doesn't work and all that. At the end of the day, it's just a bit of advice. I'm not the best player in the M10, never claimed to be. But I just want to help those that struggle with it. It is a fantastic tank destroyer. I absolutely love the 76mm. So use it right, is all I'm saying. Use it right, look after this tank, keep it hull down, and this thing will work. But like I say, in terms of ammunition count, because I don't think I mentioned it, I would recommend 40 to 45 rounds. Simply due to the fact that, well, I'm at 11 at the moment. I think I finished the game on 6 rounds. Obviously, my aim's a bit crap, so you can sort of blame that, but as I said, if you're going to get penned by, let's say, a German Panzer IV F2, you're dead anyway, so more ammunition really doesn't matter, and obviously planes will probably do that for you. But I hope that helps out those that are struggling with the M10. Obviously, I see a lot of people disrespecting the M10, which I think is wrong. I might do one on the M24 Chaffee at some point, because I see a lot of people hating on that tank. We'll have to see. If you do want to see more guides and advice and stuff like that, tutorials, etc., please do let me know. I'll be more than happy to do them. I like doing them personally because it gives me a chance to spread my wings and help you guys out. And you never know, you might become better in these tanks and you might learn some respect for them, if that makes sense. So if you see one on the enemy team, you might just respect that tank a little bit more. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all on the next one.